You are now listening to the J Ade podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the J Ade podcast, man. This is episode 10, the season finale, the moment we've all been waiting for, man. I've been slacking for about 2 weeks. I won't even say slacking, but, it's been a little bit of a delay, a lot of deliberation. Had a little IG contest. Posted a video and people was putting their names in. I felt kind of special, man. I know y'all was showing me love, but I wasn't expecting love like that. But nonetheless, I had to select one lady and one gentleman for this finale, and I'm going to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves after I do the same thing I do every episode, which is to shout out my social media, man. Y'all know what time it is. Follow your boy on Instagram at Joe the Great. That's JOETHEGR 8, and my podcast page at j.ade.pod. That's j.ade.pod. Shameless. Oh, my Jesus. Oh, my. Fuck my life.
I don't know how to respond to that.
No.
No, you got to keep all of this.
Oh my Lord.
Hilarious.
Okay, whatever. I'm keeping it. Whatever.
I
I
don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. No, okay, no. But on a serious note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna keep that in. We're not even gonna cut that. All right. Episode 10, final. Episode of season 1. Like I said, I introduced myself. That's shameless plug right there. And we have one lady and one gentleman. As I always do, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna allow the lady to introduce herself first. Lady, what's your name? Where are you from?
I am Lex. I'm from Pittsburgh. Gang. Shout out to 412. Still City in the building.
Turn up.
Yeah, that's it. Lex. Get it, Lex. Alexis.j, 3 underscores on Instagram.
Hey.
Ain't no hide me. Ain't no shame in my game. You know what I mean? Go follow me. Period.
Man, shameless plug. Do you follow back? That's the question.
Do you follow back though? Ooh, yeah, I do.
Do you have any? Do you discriminate at all, or do you follow back everybody?
I'm a discriminator. Like, I can't be having no rubbish on my timeline.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or you know what? Sometimes I'll follow back right away, and then as soon as I see you start posting, I'll unfollow.
Jesus, that is really messed up.
No, you know how you scroll past and being like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? Who is this person? Like, and you gotta just, clean it up a little bit.
I think that's better than muting people, though. And I feel like I don't owe you that follow. If you feel something.
Yeah, like I don't even use it mute.
All right,
You can mute on IG for real.
Nah, I'm all about
I'm mute on Twitter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman that I just heard, he hasn't got to introduce himself yet, so I'm gonna give him that opportunity, man. Gentlemen, what's your name? Where you from, man?
You can call me CityBoi. I'm from Houston, Texas. Houston, motherfucking Texas, ho.
Hey.
832-281-713 in the building.
Hey, you know the
From
vibes.
Southwest side, A-Leaf, Sugarland, Fort Bend, stand up.
Hey.
Are you a hottie?
Oh, you know I'm a hottie. You know I'm a hottie.
Turn
They can
up.
sit on my face. Shoot.
Hey.
Let me lay my ears on your cheeks, please.
Okay.
Hey.
Facial cheeks, of course.
Hey.
He in his mud. I'm a listener.
Hey, yo, energy.
Lover,
yo.
not a fighter.
My man CityBoi said that's his energy, boy. CityBoi summer, man. Y'all know the vibe. All right, like I stated, man, we got Lex, we got CityBoi, man. This is episode 10 of the J.I.D. podcast, man. You already know what time it is. Without further ado, though, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is the season finale, episode 10 of season 1 of the J.I.D. podcast, and today's topic is, which is worse, emotional cheating or physical cheating? So we had the lady introduce herself first. We're going to have the gentleman state his opinion first. What's your answer, big dog?
Woo! Y'all putting me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
Well, in my opinion, cheating is cheating. So we're going to first of all start off by saying that, because I know that we're going to get into it. Which one is worse? Worse is subjective. Cheating is cheating. Either which way, it's hurtful to the other person that you're with. But in my opinion, emotional cheating is worse. And emotional cheating is worse because you know that somebody has formed a bond, a connection with somebody else. A love has either been lost or been replaced. So you know that person that you are with no longer has the same feelings that they had with you when they began with you. So it's like, though they may still have love for you, they have sought outside of the relationship to replace that love because it wasn't enough.
Okay, Lex, what you got to say about that? What do you
I agree that both cheatings are terrible. All forms of cheating is bad, but I would say physical is worse. I would say physical is worse because I feel like you cannot have physical cheating without some type of emotional connection, no matter how temporary it may be. Like, guys may think, oh yeah, I can just have sex with this girl that I just met at the bar or at a party and never call her again. But at the end of the day, there was something that attracted you to her before you took her home. Like there was some type of emotional connection when y'all met, whether she was funny, whether she made you laugh in that moment, or whatever the case may be. So at the end of the day, there was still an emotional part of that cheating. And then physical, you can't take back. Like you can't take it back. Like once it's done, it's done. Like emotional, if you have a work wife or you have feelings for, you know, your one of your best friends, your best female friends or something like that, you can come to me. First of all, how did I find out that you were emotionally cheating? If you came to me and was like, listen, I got feelings for somebody else, I fell in love with somebody at work, at that point I could be like, what is she doing for you that I'm not doing for you? Why are you seeking this? Is she pumping up your ego? Is she giving you more attention than me? Does she listen better than me? Like if you're coming to me and saying I want to, you know, you still want to work it out with me and you feel bad that you fell in love with somebody else, I can say, okay, well, where am I lacking that you saw outside the relationship? But you still had the restraint to not have sex with this person. But like if you went all the way and had sex with that girl, there's no coming back from that. Like there's no coming back from physical. But I don't think you can have physical without some sort of emotional cheating as well. So that's why I think it's worse.
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, we got to unpack what CityBoi said. This man said, you know, if somebody is emotionally tied to somebody else, then that means, you know, there's been a level of love lost. So my question for you, CityBoi, is I'm gonna ask both of y'all this question. It's gonna be directed to both of y'all. Do you believe that there's only one true love out there for each person? Like, how do you know that it's truly? How is it really emotional cheating? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you're just realizing you have another true love out there? Why is it possible that you have the equal amount of love for both people? What do you think?
I'm gonna defer to Lex.
Ooh, okay, defer. All right, let's hear it.
Respect. It's respect.
Okay,
respect.
Okay.
CityBoi.
Hey, it don't match up, man. So you gotta pick a side, man. We leaving respect in the winner.
CityBoi and respect. Yeah, like.
All right, let's hear it though. Yeah.
So, what was your question? Do we think you can have more than one love? Not at the same time, I don't think, no. I think you can have more than one love in your lifetime. You can go from one love to another one, but I think if you're in love with one person, all your emotions and your focus will be on that one person until you fall out of love with that person to fall in love with somebody else. I don't think you can fall in love unless, because like I said, if that person is lacking something that you need to seek it from somebody else, then you should be trying to work on that with your partner. If you really love them, you should say, you know, you're not giving me, you know, the attention that I need to fulfill whatever, or you don't listen to me about whatever the case may be that made you think you're falling in love with somebody else. You need to be trying to work that out with your partner if you really love them to begin with. You wouldn't go seek it from somebody else.
All right, what you think, CityBoi?
Well, I'm gonna have to ask, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how philosophical do you want?
Man, 10, man. Let's hear it. Finale.
It's like about to turn into Play-Doh and shit.
Okay, all right. Because CityBoi is scholar, you know, Rice University stand up. So
CityBoi scholar.
CityBoi scholar. A respectful CityBoi scholar.
Yeah, bro. You know. Okay, well, so in my opinion, the easy answer I'm going to say is that there are multiple loves that you can have in a lifetime, of course. Now, whether you were having multiple loves at the same time, that's another topic. But I do think there is more than one love that you will have in your lifetime. I don't think there is a thing as the one. I don't think the one exists. But I do believe that when you choose the one, then that is the one. Like, the one is who you choose to be with, and you choose to work on that. And, you know, if you want to get religious on it, and, you know, whether that person is, you know, God has for you or not, I don't know whether God has that person for you or not. Only God can tell you. But I do believe that there's a person that you will commit to. Now, the multiple loves, there are multiple types of love, and I'm sure that you guys know this as well. You know, you got multiple types of love, such as
Eros, getting philosophical. Let's hear it.
Agape,
yes,
you know, you got agape love. That's the whole you and God love. You got Eros love, which is like your romantic love. But then you have Philos, which is like, you know, where it's kind of a love of the mind. It's like you love that person for who they are, and that's more of the love that you have towards, you know, I love my dad, I love my brother, my sister. You know, that's Philos, right? So, yes, you can have multiple loves at once, and I think that the society that we are in now, we have kind of all had this, I would like to say, agreement. I mean, in some places, you know, inside of the East, you know, people still have, what's the word for that? Polygamy. But I think that even in polygamous
That
marriages,
ain't based on love, though, bro.
It's different
Yeah,
love.
man, that ain't
Exactly,
yeah.
it's a business transaction.
Yeah.
So, in this society where we're based on love, we want love inside of a marriage. I think that is supposed to be a one-on-one person. It's a commitment that you make. But I do think you can have multiple loves, and you can lose love as well. I believe that you can be in love with someone, and I believe you can love someone. Those two
Are
things
different.
are
Yeah,
different
I agree.
things. In love is a feeling, and love is an action.
But I think what Joe was referring to was the romantic.
Yeah,
love,
yeah, like you know what I'm
that was
saying.
what my
Like
answer was.
off some like, yo, is it really emotional cheating if you are in love with two people at the same time? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because if you're in a relationship with one of them and then you start to form another relationship with somebody else while you're in a relationship, then that is cheating.
Lex, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So how would you define emotional cheating?
Let's talk about it.
Hey, shout out Let's Talk About It podcast. Shameless
Hey,
plug.
you know the vibe.
Shameless plug. Okay.
Shout out to at name.
So, what was the question again?
What was the question? My lord.
The question was, how would you define emotional cheating? So whether
Plug my shit. Forgot all about it. My bad. Okay. So, I guess, I would define emotional cheating as you developing feelings for another person and actively working on that. Yes, actively acting upon those feelings. Like if you're still keeping in contact with that person, or you're flirting with that person, or like I said, I was actually using like a work husband or like a work wife as an example, or it's like you have a best friend that it could be a stranger, whatever. If you're actively still trying to participate and keep in contact with that person because of your feelings, and then that's actively emotionally cheating.
Interesting.
Understood. I like that.
So for you, it's acting on it. So you can think about somebody, you know what I'm saying, and it's not emotional cheating.
Because how else would you develop emotions for somebody if you're not still communicating with them? Like I just want to know, like, what would be a situation where you meet somebody and what did you fall in love with them like during one conversation, and then now you can't get them off your mind, and that's emotional cheating? I don't really know, but if you keep hitting that person up, or whatever the case may be, and are forming a connection with somebody based off their emotions, then I feel like then that's emotionally cheating. But I don't know what situation where you wouldn't
act on that,
be hitting the person up. Yeah, would you just be thinking about somebody and it's never? I don't know.
Nah, it'd be like that.
I think that, like, and I think we're in agreement here. I think all three of us are in agreement here. Like, regardless of whether it's emotional or physical, cheating requires the acting on it. And do y'all agree with that?
Right.
So, like,
And
you
your
can think about
intention.
somebody, but it's like, look, until I act on it, it ain't nothing. Like, I don't want to get religious, but I mean, like, if you think about doing something, it's not really a sin until you've acted on that. You can be tempted to do something, but like, until you act on it, you ain't done nothing yet. I could look, shoot.
Like my boyfriend loves Rihanna and he thinks about her a lot. Is that cheating? Is that cheating?
But I mean,
he's bringing up Rihanna all the time.
He doesn't know Rihanna.
Is that
though.
cheating?
He doesn't know Rihanna though. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
So you're saying he can't have emotions for her because he don't
Like
know
the
her.
way people think about Meg Thee Stallion, it's like, damn, I'm thinking about blah blah blah. Meg Thee Stallion, she's hot, whatever, right?
So you feel like there's a difference between fantasizing and emotional cheating?
Oh, absolutely. If you don't know the person, you can't emotionally cheat if you don't know the person. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to
Can't
know.
cheat unless you can act on it. So I mean,
Facts.
shoot.
I hear you. We agree.
I don't know. I don't know. And I wanted to get on this point too, Lex, because you had brought this up and you said that physical is worse than emotional, right? So
Yes.
I wanted to understand, because you said that there's an emotional component to physical cheating, which I disagree with. But before I, state why I disagree with that, I just wanted to give you one more chance to plead your case, because I'm sorry, I just do not agree.
I feel like guys feel like they can just go have sex with girls and there be no emotions attached. But at the end of the day, I said it doesn't matter how temporary those emotions are. Just because you didn't hit her up the next day, there was some type of emotional connection that made you want to meet up with her or take her home or whatever the case may be to begin with. Like there's something about her personality or something that, like, why would you? I mean, I don't know. Some of y'all niggas might just be having sex with girls that you have no
You don't know,
like
yes.
like
That's
for.
definitely a thing.
Okay, but what do you mean you don't know? Because you met her. When did you meet? If you met her at a party, you met her at a cookout, then during that 10 minutes, 15 minutes where you're spitting your game with her, then some type of emotional thing attracted you to her. Because I know there's probably girls that you walked up to that opened their mouth and you didn't like what they had to say or didn't like their vibe or didn't like their personality. So that would make you be like, are we still going to have sex with that girl? Like 9 times out of 10, y'all have built some type of emotional connection, whether it was for that 5-10 minute conversation. And also, I would be more upset because at the end of the day, the girl might have an emotional connection for you, whether you do or not. Like, to quote the Queen Beyonce, I gotta look at her in her eyes and see she's had half of me.
I had that written down.
She's
in my
had
notes.
half of me.
Quote the Queen Beyonce.
She's had half of me. She didn't say you
Took half of her.
Yes,
Okay.
you sought somebody. She's had half of me. So at the end of the day, you gave away something that was supposed to be only sacred to our relationship.
All right,
I would
Lex.
also like to use this point in time to reiterate the fact that her Queen Beyonce got cheated on and stayed. So
She didn't say it wasn't
made
worse.
an album.
We're not talking
made
about
an
that. We
album,
didn't say
and
that.
Stayed. So I would just like to point that out. But like I said, I think
In her marriage.
hey, cheating is cheating. Isn't that what we said earlier? So
You're supposed to forgive in marriage. I don't know if it'll be me. But you're supposed to forgive in marriage. God, in the vows. In the vows.
God forbid, though, man. Goodness gracious. All that. Nah, but but just that aspect of or that concept of emotion being tied into physical cheating, I think is blasphemous. I think it's definitely possible, especially for guys. And a lot of people make this point too. I was talking to CityBoi the other day, and I'll give him an opportunity to talk about that. Just kind of how he distinguishes, a woman's physical cheating versus a man's. But in my opinion, I think men can physically cheat and, just do it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like when women do it, there's a little bit of emotion tied in. That's what I think. You feel me? I think a guy can go to a club, see a shorty. He might have a shorty, but if shorty's a 9.5, 9.8, he might be like, even if she's not really throwing convo like Lex said, you know what I'm saying? He might just be like, yo, bruh, shorty not really throwing convo like that, but she's bad as hell, bruh. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm by the bag. It's a fold because I got a girl, but...
Okay, stop. What you're about to bag, what does that entail? What does you bagging entail? What's that process like? You walk up to her and you have a conversation
but I'm
with
saying a
her,
conversation.
and you convince her to have sex with you at some point, right?
I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't say there's any emotion tied to that, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I guess that kind of ties into the whole umbrella of what you consider to be game as well.
Okay. Okay.
I disagree that there's no emotion in that because, like I said, if she opens her mouth and the vibe is off, or she says something that you don't like, or she, whatever, she's off-putting to you, then there's a chance that you're probably not going to want to go have sex with her. You'll stop pursuing it if the vibe is off. So there is some type of emotion in it. Like you have to want to still fuck with this girl. I mean, if you're just fucking bitches because they got I don't know. I'm not a guy.
I was about to say. So okay, this is what I'm gonna say. So. If she does say something that is off, I'm not gonna say that guys won't still, they ain't.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Niggas go out sometimes with a sole intention, like I'm getting some tonight, and she could say the wildest thing. She could say Black Lives Don't Matter. She could say, and I'd be like,
If you out here fucking mega shorties, I cannot fuck with you. If you out here fucking mega shorties, I cannot fuck with you.
In your mind, you're like, damn,
Shame
they
on
definitely
you.
do matter. But
Shame on you.
One girl said that her dad was racist. I was like, oh shit. Well, I mean, look.
CityBoi out here swerving on Tommy Lahren and shit.
That goes to say that I feel as though women find it difficult to separate the emotional. Women find it difficult to see that their man is physically cheated and there was no emotional aspect of it. And I do agree that men are more capable of physically cheating or physically engaging in a sexual act
without the emotion.
Not being emotional. Yes. Now, I will say, and this might get we get a little PG-13. If it's kissing, there's probably some emotional aspect to kissing. Sometimes, if it's like going out on dates or something like that and holding hands, I can say that the emotional's been,
exactly.
Like the emotional's invaded
it's on
inside
the table.
of there.
It's on the table.
Some niggas just want to smash.
Exactly.
And this is a question I got for both of y'all.
All
right, Joe.
What's up?
So, a woman walks into a club, right?
Okay.
She's a 25 out of 10.
Ooh.
A 25 out of 10. She has no conversation with 10 niggas, but she walks up to these 10 niggas and said, "You're leaving with me tonight." She has no conversation with them. How many of those 10 niggas are going to go home with her?
9.
I asked the same question to somebody else, and he said 9. I was going to give it 7. I was going to say 7 to try to give us a little credit.
Okay, but my response to that is, how many of them niggas got a girlfriend?
Probably like 4.
You're going to risk it all? Y'all would risk it all just to hit a 25 out of 10? What if her vagina's trash? Like, my thing is, like, in order for you to, like, really want to risk it all, that you would cheat on your girlfriend for this woman, I would hope that there was something more than that. I would hope that there was something more than that. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You should not be in a relationship if all it takes is a pretty face to walk up to you and say, "Let's go home," and you're with it to just cheat on your girlfriend, and that's that. Like, that's my thing. We're talking about cheating. We're not just talking about, can guys have sex with no emotion? Sure, but like, if you're willing to cheat on your girlfriend, I would hope that there was some type of connection or conversation with this girl that made you think, okay, like, this is she's quote unquote worth it. It's never worth it, but quote unquote worth it to go cheat on my girlfriend with this girl, not just because she got a pretty face. I would hope it was a little bit more than that.
Isn't it more comforting? Let's say your man was to cheat on you, right? As a woman, isn't it more comforting to know that there was no emotional connection and that it was strictly physical?
Hell no.
Why?
Hell no.
Why?
Hell no.
At least
hell
you
no.
don't like her.
Because like I said, there's no going back from that. If you came to me and said, I had a conversation with, I'm about to tell you, if you came to me and said, this girl walked up to me at the bar, we ended up having a really good conversation, I like her, whatever the case may be, would I be upset? Sure. But if you was like, but I had the restraint to walk away because I have a girlfriend and I came home to you and I cut it off right there, then we could talk about, we could probably move past that. I would still be upset, but we could probably move past that. If you said, I didn't have the restraint, I took her home and I had sex with her, there's no coming back from that. And I have a question for y'all. How many situationships have y'all had where all y'all did was text or communicate and there was nothing physical? And y'all were like, you probably don't even count that. We didn't talk. We barely talked. But if you end up having sex with a girl, that's somebody that you count more as, like, yeah, y'all talked, y'all fucked around. Like, you would at least put some type of, like, claim it on it. Yeah, because there was the physical, not just, oh, we just talked or whatever. Like, having sex it makes it completely different. It's a whole nother level.
Yeah,
that's why it's worse.
I agree. I'm gonna make sure that we get back to that, what you said, and about it being, guys inside of a relationship. But I just want to ask the same question that I asked to Joe to you for the flip side of women, just because I want to know your perspective. And discounting any of them are in a relationship, if a 25 out of 10 man walks into a club and 10 women, how many would you say would actually go along with him?
If a nigga walked in and was like, "Yo, I'm trying to fuck one of y'all tonight," he's getting slapped by all 10 of them girls. What are you talking about?
And that dynamic is different too.
What are you talking about?
I feel like women can get away with that. Like, women can say like, "Oh yeah, like all right, homeboy, like, we out." You know what I'm saying? But for a nigga to say that, it's like, what? Exactly, literally. Shout out Trey Songz. That nigga had a whole baby, but he was shooting his shot at Meg Thee Stallion on the TL.
Yes, and how long ago was the Lori? I just want to point out that the Lori Harvey pick was not 9 months ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, continue.
No, so the point that I was getting at was more so that when it comes to that emotional aspect, even when it's like the small, just a physical, or when we're trying to talk about it being physical only, I still think that there's always an emotional aspect inside of it. And so I feel like you're kind of playing into what I'm saying as well, that the emotional aspect is what hurts about cheating. That, like, with women, for a woman to have sex with a man, even if it's one of the women that, even if, because I mean, we have pretty liberal women nowadays, and men nowadays, but even if it's somebody that says that, that they can have sex and it's purely physical, there's still the emotional aspect that we call trust. That they need to have a conversation with this guy and at least like his character enough to trust him. Because a guy being solely attractive alone can't take home a woman, because she has to trust his character. She has to trust who he is. Otherwise, she's not even going to go anywhere with him. She's going to be like, look, yeah, you're attractive, but I don't know anything about you, so I'm not going with you. And that goes to that. I'm just saying that to say that women and men see physical attraction and physical action, sexual attraction, sexual action differently. There's an emotional aspect involved that women cannot see removed from the physical aspect. And I think you're also saying that, like, you don't see physical without the emotional, which means that the emotional part is what hurts women. Men and women hurt differently.
I agree. Okay, and I guess just to piggyback off of that point too, of men and women hurting differently. A point that was made by like one of the responses I got on the poll was a question of, did you like it or did you regret it immediately after? And I think that's interesting that that's a question that women ask. Well, okay, so from a woman's standpoint, right, Lex, does that matter? Did you like it or did you regret it immediately after?
That don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That don't matter to me. You did it.
So what if you're like,
No,
man,
you did
I
it.
hated it. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, bro, that shit was trash.
It don't matter. You still
like,
chose. You still chose it. Just because her fucking pussy was dry, don't mean you get a pass.
And you were saying that. You were saying that though, like, and you made that point though, Lex, about a girl pulling up to the club and she's mad, like she's hella bad or whatever. But what if her vagina's trash? You're not gonna know her vagina's trash until you fuck. So it's not even like, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have to leave with her regardless to even know if it's trash or not.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying y'all are taking that risk. You're taking the risk, and that's the bad part about it. That's what I was saying.
Cause you to take that risk. Period. I mean, let's make the point clear though. I know plenty of niggas that have cheated with, you know, unattractive women,
and that
like,
that makes
which
you
is
trash.
wild anyway. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, he unhappy. He was in bondage.
I have a question though, and you're saying that emotional was worse, so I'm going to bring up a question that I mentioned earlier in the week. If you had, if your wife had a work husband, like Tyler Perry type shit, like was buying her flowers, all this kind of stuff, you would be more hurt than if she came home and was like, yo, I just threw the neck to this dude at my job. You would forgive that because it was physical? You would forgive that because it was physical?
That's a whole new layer, bro. Because we talked about this. We talked about this in a couple episodes ago about the idea of which hurts more, bro. Your girl throwing the neck versus your girl having sex with a nigga, bro. Like if she just throwing a nigga a neck, bro, like that's just gonna hurt more off rip just because it's like, wow.
Oh my god. Okay,
Really?
so don't say throw the neck.
sex
Don't
would
say
hurt
throw the
more.
neck. Have it. Either one, whatever. Physical cheating. If your girl physically cheated with somebody at her job, you would be more willing to forgive that than if she came home and was like, yeah, this nigga been buying me flowers and texting me, and I really like him a lot. That would hurt worse than if she said, yeah, I gave that nigga my vagina.
Ooh,
What?
Damn! Oh no!
Come on, man.
So all right, so this is how I'm gonna answer that. One, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna hurt worse, because like I said, before, cheating is cheating. Both of them are gonna hurt a lot. Now, I'm not gonna say that the emotional, the work husband hurt worse, but I will say from experience, you can isolate the physical, or at least men. I know how to isolate the physical from the emotional, right? So I actually have been in a relationship in which the woman physically cheated, right? But I was positive that there was no emotional aspect of it, and we worked through it. Now,
Wow!
right?
No, you can't be no
physical
city boy.
cheating-
Change your name, nigga.
Hey, chill out. Hey, chill on me.
Let's talk about it.
Chill on me. I got a heart.
Let's talk about it. Come on.
Yeah, no, I mean that was circa 2017. CityBoi changed now. But and I don't know if I would stay through stuff like that. But that's.
Can I ask you?
Now, what
I was
happened
about to
in
say,
that
how did you
situation?
confirm as much detail as you want to give? How did you confirm that there was no emotion attached to her having sex with another guy?
So what made me convinced that, and it wasn't sex, it was they made out.
Oh, but that don't count. I mean, it counts, but it ain't as bad. It counts.
It counts.
I was about to say, I was like, how does that count?
No, it counts. But that's more forgivable. It's more forgivable. Kissing.
Yeah,
than
it's
if
definitely more
she would have had
forgivable.
sex, would you have forgave her?
Look, dog. Hell nah.
Okay.
Sex? Dog, sex is, look, to me, sex goes beyond the physical.
Okay, then, so
like,
physical is worse. Continue.
I know that some people can remove it, but I'm saying for me, it goes beyond the physical and emotional. I'm saying it goes to the spiritual, but we getting too deep into that. For her, because when they made out, so one, she was drunk. Let me just give it this whole thing. I don't know if you'll ever see this.
Damn, you were there?
We was on a cruise, right? Man's paid for it. Got cheated on a cruise. Stayed in it still. I was asleep. And I could tell that. I could tell that she was, real like weird about where she was going. But she went out to like the little cruise club and whatnot, right? She got drunk. And also I don't know how these niggas got weed on a boat, but they did.
Wow.
So she was crossfaded, heavily crossfaded, and she made out with this dude. She could remember the fact that she made out with that dude, and I'd never give inebriation or any kind of being drunk, being high. I don't really give that a pass. but I knew that it was solely physical because she came to confess literally the next morning. She's like, this, and that happened last night. I feel terrible about it and all that. But I feel as though the emotional was removed because she's on this cruise with me, knows that she's with me. She didn't have to say anything about it. She could have left it a secret.
Facts.
But she came out to confess. And it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about the emotional thing. Like, I was thinking when you were talking about, like, a guy going saying, like, I have feelings for this girl to his girlfriend. No nigga was confess about having feelings to your girlfriend about another girl.
I mean, unless you're just reckless like that.
But that's my question: is how would you find out that somebody was emotionally cheating? Because we're asking like which one would be forgivable.
You
Like how would I find out? Was I going through your phone?
Through the phone, text messages, flowers sent, receipts, things like that. That's how you find out.
I feel like that's unhealthy. The whole going through people's phone, like that's so oh my lord. I had it happen to me one time. Story time. Yo, there was one time, and I know she don't listen to this podcast, so whatever. I ain't gonna drop her name anyway. But long story short, man, you know what I'm saying? Spent the night at her crib. Man, all I know is I was turned up from a night at the club, knocked out at her crib. She's tapping me on my shoulder like 5 o'clock in the morning. She said, get out. I said, what? She said, get out. I said, why?
Jesus.
She said, now I know how you really feel about me. I was like, yo, it's 5 a.m. And you know when you lit, bro, that sleep is hitting different. So I'm like, damn, nigga, where the hell am I about to go, bro? Anyway, that's my story. So that's yeah, bro. So
like you find out through the phone. I had a relationship end with somebody going through my phone, and personally, I didn't feel like much was even in there. Actually, till this day. I don't feel like there was really that much in there. It was like me and guys group chat talking about other women and things like that.
Yeah.
If you go through the guys,
set yourself up for failure.
That's what they did too.
That's something I would never look at.
But and that's the first place to go.
Yeah,
Women that are watching this, I'm sorry,
that's
other
a
city
trap.
boys, but women, that's pretty much where you go to find out.
You giving away the key.
I mean, bitches know that though. No, we know that. I would never look through my niggas boys group chat. Like I'm cool. I don't.
Yeah, but you find out through the phone. I've gone through a phone before as well, and that's when I knew I had already lost trust. It was from the same one that cheated on the cruise, but it's like she, I would say she emotionally cheated and physically cheated. She physically cheated on the cruise. That was separate. I forgave that. We moved past that. But there was a point in time in which another dude kept hitting her line, DMing her and all these things.
She was responding.
And she liked the attention. She kept responding. I was like, and we talked about it multiple times. Like,
stop talking to this nigga.
Why do you stop talking to this nigga, right? Exactly. But it continued going. And I think that is what ultimately, broke my trust, because then now I'm becoming the nigga that's going through her phone. Like, what? Since when?
I think all you really proved is there's just levels to physical cheating. Like the whole time I was considering sex, but also kissing is obviously more forgivable than having sex. But I still feel like it's worse.
I don't know. Okay. So and back to that question, right, CityBoi? You stated that this young lady that had cheated on you confessed immediately after. Do you guys feel like it's more forgivable if it's a physical act and they confess right away versus if they decide to confess a month down the line? Which one hurts more, knowing immediately or having them wait it out?
I mean, you get brownie points.
You really do.
But is it? I mean, I'm saying you confessing, but no, I'm saying let's say I got a girl, right? I cheat on her today, and I confess, around Labor Day. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, I feel like trust is really lost at that point, because it's like, wow, exactly.
Yeah, because
what do y'all think though? Like, does that span of time matter in terms of when they decide to confess?
Hey, dog, this woman better never watch this podcast. I'm going to say that. Because I got another example for her.
This woman is trash, man.
Cheating number 3, right? Number 3,
right?
I ain't still in this
Scandalous.
relationship.
Okay,
I'll just say that.
Thank the
Right.
Lord,
I'm not still
my
in it.
goodness. Love yourself,
but, okay. The 2 acts that I consider the actual cheating that you did, there was one that was actually before the cruise that I didn't know about. I never knew about the entire time we were together. Wow. The cruise was the one that I knew about, the making out with the guy on the cruise. The one before that was making out with the girl. But see, and sometimes, look, on the cruise she made out with the girl, but I was right there. She looked at me like, is this cool? Type of thing. She did it. Girl's wild. I know, right?
So, wait. So is it cheating, though, if she was in front of you and she asked if it was cool?
No, that one wasn't
Okay,
cheating.
okay.
I'm saying that some 2-3 weeks before the cruise, when I was out of town, she cheated with a girl. I don't know how much they did, but I remember.
Wait. Okay, so does that count to a certain degree?
Cheating with a girl cheating with a girl. Oh, well, okay, let me ask Lex. Lex, if your boyfriend comes to you in 5 months and says that him and another nigga was bumping dicks,
Chill, fam. Chill.
LB,
It's
is LB.
Hey, yo, chill. Pause.
Hard pause.
Yeah, no, but I think that is kind of a double standard that some guys might be into their girl having sex, or like that might be forgivable for a guy. Obviously, for a girl, that might be less forgivable for whatever reason. But I feel like for guys, that might be forgivable for a girl to have sex with another girl behind her back.
But as a woman, you feel like it's unforgivable for your man to be like,
Me personally, yes. For me personally, that's just my personal preference. Yes.
Okay. I respect it though. Okay. So let's say, for example, this is like heterosexual cheating, right? And I'm asking. This question is directed to both of y'all, and y'all know the person that they cheated with. How does that level of hurt differ at that point? Y'all know the person, and this is somebody that it rolls within the same circles as y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, be it y'all go to the same school.
Somebody getting their ass.
No. But would you legitimately resort to throwing hands though?
I probably would. Yeah.
Probably.
For real?
Hey, dog,
Yes,
I'm sanctified,
that's the
but
ultimate
probably.
disrespect, like that's the ultimate disrespect.
But I feel like
fam.
that just makes you look even more stupid though. I never understood that.
No. It makes me look stupid.
Throwing
It makes me
hands?
look stupid if I don't know the girl. If I don't know the girl, that girl owes me nothing. You know what I mean? If I don't know the girl, I'm not going to approach the girl. And even if she knew I was in a relationship, that's on my nigga. Like, to not cheat on me. Like, I'm not. I hate when people approach the girl that owes them nothing. But if it was my friend and she fucked my dude, then yes, we're throwing hands.
But it's like at that point, I still feel like you look stupid because it's like, bruh, you fighting the girl
Who knows me? That's my friend. She owes me something.
But your man owes you even more.
Oh yeah. I didn't say he's not exempt from these hands.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's not exempt. I agree. He's not exempt.
He's not exempt from these hands. No. Both of them are catching these hands. But if I know the girl, then yes, she can catch these hands too. But if I don't know her, then no, she don't owe me nothing.
Okay, what you think, CityBoi?
Both niggas getting caught on sight, bro. Whether I know him or not. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Hitting rolling up on some unassuming nigga who doesn't know like anything about me. He's just like, who's this random nigga that came out and hit me with the right? Like, he probably is real confused, like, what's going on?
Like, why? Why?
And
why did you
right
do that?
in the case of the emotional cheating before, on that one, like, that nigga had been talking to her for a minute, but like, he didn't know that I exist. I think maybe he knew that somebody existed and he knew he was getting in between something, but he didn't know that I exist. If I pulled up on him, look, it makes me look silly because one, it does make me look silly because one, like, he doesn't know me. So me pulling up on him is one thing. But I agree with Lex that, if it's this nigga that knows you and knows y'all are together and he's like pretty much plotting on your downfall, like by him entertaining your woman, even entertaining, like not even physical anything, even emotionally entertaining your woman, that's still disrespectful to me, bro.
Facts.
No, I know it is disrespectful, but okay. So my question is, all right, y'all say y'all gonna throw hands, right? So after y'all throw these hands, after somebody decided to mess with your significant other, what's next?
Oh, both of them.
Y'all throw the hands. Then
She got her ass whooped then. Story over. Like, but you got these hands.
But like, what does that solve though? Ultimately,
it's making me feel better that I got to drag you up and down the street.
I'm glad we agree. I'm glad we agree on this because I was like, it didn't solve anything. Better
because I dragged this bitch. And that's it. Period. Point blank. It's over. I got my revenge for you fucking with my nigga. Like, I dragged you. So that's it. That just makes me feel better.
It depends on how big he is. I mean, I've been in the gym for a minute, but I mean, if he hefty, look, I might have to think twice because I ain't trying to.
I definitely think the size of the person that cheated on you definitely plays a factor as well. Cause I don't know, CityBoi, if the dude built like, you know what I'm saying, Terry Crews, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you know what I'm saying, I might just have to say, that's
your.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry about that.
Hey, we cannot throw those hands, bro. I'm sorry. Okay, and to that point, right? So let's say it's a situation where it's not a friend and it's somebody random. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't have to throw any hands or whatever. But y'all work it through, like City Boy had stated. Would you say that it's harder to get a woman back, or would you say it's harder for a woman to get her dude back?
It's way harder for a guy to get for a girl to get a guy back.
What?
Wait, hold
on. Say that again.
Let's hear your point.
I feel like it's way harder for a female to get her dude back because it's like guys have so much ego, so like they'll it's just like a guy getting cheated on just hurts their ego so much that I don't think I've seen situations where a girl cheated on her boyfriend and they were together for how many years. I mean he still loved her and went and fucked other bitches and was like would never go back to her. Like, just would never go back to her. He still loved her. Like, they tried to work it out, whatever the case may be, but, like, he could just never look past it just for ego's sake and was just out here in these streets. Still in love with his girl, but, like, he just never took her back. Like, never took her back. I feel like it's way harder. I know way more females that forgave their nigga for cheating than vice versa.
Damn,
let's hear it.
I understand your point. I really, really do understand your point because now I'm starting to vibe with it because at first I was like, what? And now
yeah, like I was right at my night.
But I mean,
don't say y'all, man.
What I would say is that I feel as though when men are heartbroken, yes, ego plays a big role. But I feel like in general, men are the easier ones to get back. So like when a man has gotten his heart broken, he's pretty much just like he might still love that girl, but for his ego's sake, and because all of his niggas are like, nah.
Exactly.
Don't go like that. Don't go like that, nigga.
Like we roll.
But the homegirls do that too, though.
They do the same thing. But girls will be ignoring their homegirls, whereas guys, for the sake of our ego, if we go back to a girl that all the niggas have been saying,
that's true.
If they said, especially because they probably say, look, she wasn't even that fine in the first place.
She wasn't even that bad.
And she cheat now. She a hoe, right? She cheat now. She's a slider. Like you messing with the slide. Da. She out here sucking everybody's dick. This and that.
That's a fact. That's low-key a fact.
Come on, fam.
So like now you look like a clown. You look like Boo Boo the Fool if you go back to her. So it's like, regardless of how much you love her, it's all ego. You're like, look, I can't do it. Like even for me with that girl, like I still hold some love for you, but it's like I'm never going back to that.
And for some reason, and I'm going to throw my ladies under the bus for a quick second.
Let's hear it.
For some reason, girls will take their dude back to feel like they beat out the other girl. You know what I mean? Like I've seen that so many times. Like I win because at the end of the day, he came home to me. Yeah, he's still fucking with me. He's still coming home to me. And now you feel like you're in competition. Exactly. Now you feel like you're in competition with this other girl who and imagine he's having his cake and eating it too. Cause y'all birds over here like, yeah, well he was here last night. Okay, well guess who's getting his dick wet? This nigga. Like not. But at the end of the day, that is like a big part of why girls take their nigga back because they don't want to feel like they lost to this other girl. Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's such a crazy mentality too, point. And like I've actually had homegirls like with that mentality as well of like, yo, yeah, he was messing with this other girl, but I'm here to prove to him that I'm the one he with. And it's
queen, do better, queens.
And it's crazy. It's like that logic is just so stupid. Like how does that?
They don't play chess.
Like exactly. And it's not even. I mean, yeah, I guess it is a game of chess in essence, but I feel like it's just basic.
That's all about self-esteem and maturity. Like you just gotta want better for yourself and think better that you can do better. Like quit letting these niggas get away with shit, queens. Cut them off.
Hey, City Boy Summer.
Wait. So, City Boy, it sounds like because you were saying that if the homeboys clown you in the group chat and say like, "Yo, don't take her back," this and that, but you said it's easier for a guy to take his girl back after that.
I'm saying if the homeboys clown you, it's harder for you to take her back. Even if you wanted to take her back yourself, you just like for your ego's sake, I'm not taking her back because
okay. So you agree? So you agree with Lex then that it's harder for a girl to get her man back?
I'm saying that it is. I'm saying that it is hard for a man to take his woman back, and I will say that I do agree that it's harder for when love is lost. It's harder for a man to take his woman back. But in general, I would say that women tend to, y'all gonna get on me for this. Women tend to be more bitter about a man than a man would be about a woman. A man can end a relationship and still have love for a woman, that's still, the homie. But women, 7 times out of 10, it's like, he ain't shit, or he never saw my worth. It's like maybe he saw your worth and like just thought that it wasn't working for y'all. Like, it's just not gonna work.
Which is, I guess, is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people too. And I guess just going back to Lex's point of like the whole self-esteem thing as well, it's kind of, you know, people feeling the need to prove to themselves that even though he cheated, I'm the one, you know, like I'm a prize in a sense. And I think that's very interesting. I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense though, because I feel like at the end of the day, nobody wants to feel like unwanted, and I feel like that's kind of what goes into it too. So I kind of
and it depends on the relationship, like how much have you invested into this nigga, you know what I mean? Like a lot of girls will take their nigga back for the sake of like, we've been together 8 years, I don't want to feel like I just wasted all this time and just throwing this whole shit down the drain, you know what I mean?
It makes sense, but it's also kind of wild, because it's like, damn, like, so you're just gonna devote your life to a situation that you're not, you know what I'm saying, happy to?
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you. I'm just saying, like, there's just several things that like that play a factor into why people take people back. And I feel like the length of the relationship is one of them. Like I was in a relationship, I was messing. Well, I don't even want to call it a relationship because we was only messing together like 3-4 months, if that. And I went through his phone. I will confess, but something told me to go through the phone, and I'll tell you, it was
Something told me.
Something told
Holy
me.
Spirit.
Swear to God, women's intuition is real. So it wasn't even on some like sneaky shit. It was just like I had left my phone in my car. Like I think I forgot my phone in my car, and it was at night. So I needed his phone for a light, and I go out to my car. This was I was in college or whatever. Yeah.
Light flash scan.
Yeah, I needed this flashlight. So I just so happened to have his phone on me, and I was like, let me just see. It's sure enough, he was texting his ex, and I had same situation. I kicked that nigga out, and I was at college, and he had to leave my dorm. So yeah, that was wild.
Y'all kicking niggas out.
Yeah, but the thing about that was like we was only messing together, like I said, a couple months. So at that time, I had like that was the last time I ever spoke to him. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Bad. Like that's not even worth fighting, saving, arguing, forgiving. Like it didn't mean that much to me. But if it was a relationship like the one I'm in now, like we've been together almost 4 years or whatever. Well, no, I won't forget that nigga. Don't listen to this. Think I'm forgiving you if you cheating, nigga. But like if it, I can see how if somebody was in a relationship for years and years and years, if they they might want to work it out.
I got a question. Okay. So I guess it's a 2-part question.
Let's hear it.
First part is for, I guess, women. If you've been in a relationship, let's say you've been in a relationship 6 years, right? You waiting for the ring. Are you saying that you're more likely to forgive a nigga for cheating on you, whether it be emotionally or physically, than if y'all had been together for a year?
What was the first half?
The first half, I guess that was the first half of the question. I haven't had the second.
Sorry. If we were together, how long? A year
y'all
versus
together
how long?
for a year versus 6 years together. Y'all been working on something for 6 years together. Ooh, I'm going to twist it up. Y'all been working on something for 6 years together, and he physically cheats on you, versus y'all been working on something for 1 year together, and he emotionally cheats on you. Which one are you walking out?
Let's talk about it. What you think, man? Come on.
Thinking.
Yeah, she's thinking.
What is the emotional cheating? Like, what is the?
Joe, give me something.
Yeah, what are the stipulations of this emotional cheating?
I think emotional cheating stipulations could be like, you know what I'm saying? This is a situation where y'all together for a year, her old situation didn't quite close out, you know what I'm saying? So they texting, she checking in on him, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? They talking on FaceTime.
Long conversations. You know what I mean? 50 minutes to 3-hour FaceTime call.
Sheesh. LOL, yeah.
So then I find out that you've been FaceTiming your ex or texting your ex or whatever the case may be, and we only been together a year?
Yeah.
I'll probably have a conversation like, do you still have feelings for this girl? Like, and if it's an ex, ex is just, I don't do exes. Like that's a cutoff. Like that's a deal breaker for me, because this is somebody that you've already had sex with. This isn't a new person who you've never crossed that line with, or you're getting to know, or it's easier to cut off. Like if you can't cut off your ex, then that's where you need to be. So that's where I'm at on it. I feel like exes is like off limits, period, point blank.
But somebody physically cheated though, right on the brink of a proposal. Are you dubbing it? Like,
oh, you said after the 6 years?
Yeah.
Now the other happens.
Physical is always off limits. Physical, yeah. I stand by my statement that physical is always worse. There's no taking it back. Like it happened. Like there's no going back. There's no deleting it. Like this is an action that happened where you had sex with another girl. And
I feel like anytime an action's happen, I mean, nobody can go back in time. This ain't the Avengers. If y'all haven't watched the Avengers, that's your
Yeah, nigga. At this point, if you haven't watched it at this point, nigga, that's on you.
Tony Stark dies.
But yeah, no, the emotional.
Yeah, it's like,
you can't go back on that either. But so in a marriage, let's say that you've crossed the line of marriage now. Are you stepping out for either of those, or like? Is it only physical in which you would end the relationship and the marriage?
If we're married and you're still talking to your ex,
That's
like,
just
no.
wild.
Like,
You don't gotta be ex. I'm
You
just
gotta
saying,
get
like,
that shit
married,
off the-
work wife and whatnot.
If we're married and you got a work wife.
Bro, if you got a work wife situation a year into the damn marriage, god damn, nigga, like, can we let
like,
the marriage?
Yes, like, where am I? What do you need from me that is gonna
Can we
stop
let the
you
marriage
from
unfold?
fucking-
Like,
Yeah.
God damn.
I feel like working through it will be easier to work through if we're married. I don't think I would necessarily get divorced over a work wife if we were married. Now, if you had sex with that woman, then yeah, now we gotta.
That's fair.
Yeah, now
That's
we gotta
I
call
respect
it
that.
quits.
So you'll call it
If
quits.
we're married.
Okay, so but just boyfriend, girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? Is it different in that situation? Like, so you said
If my boyfriend got a work wife. I guess it depends, man. I think it depends because, like you said, either way you're gonna be hurt, right? So I guess it depends on like how the guy approaches the situation. Like, is he coming to me saying like, I'm sorry, this is what I'm getting from her? Like like I said, how am I finding out? Like, if he's coming to me and be like, listen, like I really feel bad. Like I've been this and that with this other woman communicating because she makes me laugh or she listens to my problems and you're too busy and you're not around. Like at the end of the day, when people cheat, it's because you're not getting something at home. So like if you're coming to me saying, I feel bad and I really want to be with you, but this is why like maybe I could be like, okay, well let me work on this because I really want to save the relationship. I guess it just depends on how much I want to save the relationship, honestly. But if I just found out and go through your phone, then that went like I said, the confession always gets you brownie points. But if I find out and go through your phone that you're texting another bitch, like nah, because all trust is gone. You're sneak, like it's trust. Again, like you said, it all goes back to the trust situation more so than even how hurt I am. It's like I don't think I'll ever be able to trust you again, knowing that you were able to sneak and do all this stuff behind my back.
So I agree with you that the confession gives you brownie points because that's what
Right.
made me feel better in my situation. But I have a friend who says that confessing is selfish.
How?
He says that confessing inherently inside of a relationship, when there's been, especially when it's been emotionally, that confessing is selfish. And pretty much his explanation was like, if your girl is, we're talking about a guy in this situation, or maybe either which way, if your partner is emotionally cheating and they decide, that they want to confess this to you, it's because that there is some level of guilt in them.
I mean, yeah.
That there's some level of guilt in them that they want to relieve. And, whether they're confessing because they want to work on it together and like you said, I'm getting X, Y, Z from this person that I'm not getting from you. They want to build with you. Okay. In my opinion, I don't feel like that's selfish. In his opinion, he says they are trying to get something off of their chest because they are feeling guilty and they cannot bear the weight of feeling guilty. But in them now bearing their guilt on you, now you feel hurt and they feel fine. Now that guilt is off of their shoulders, they feel fine. And he said, especially in the case of marriage where you have, kids, that this gets complicated because, you have your divorce, you have custody, child support, all of that, just for a dumb act, a mistake.
So he would rather his
that's
girl
probably
cheat and
not
never
gonna
tell.
happen again. He said,
I don't
quote
wanna
unquote,
know.
alternatively, he said, alternatively, she can feel bad.
Nah, he a clown. He a clown.
That's the most sucking song of all time, though.
Keep it on the line. I think I was crying in the bathtub. I don't know because I don't feel like I see what he's trying to say. Like now I'm hurt and you could have just kept it to yourself. But like, okay, nigga, well, just let her cheat and get her shit off, and then you'll just never know. Like I don't know. I would rather know. Like wouldn't you rather know? Wouldn't you rather know the truth?
Yeah.
Like period, point blank.
Yeah, out here just looking stupid,
So he
especially
would
if
have
it's a
felt better if
situation
he
where
found out if he went through her phone. Like he would have felt better about it. Like I don't know. Like she confessed. So
I think he's saying that he would have felt better if he never finds out. Period, and she fixes her actions on her own. He's pretty much saying like,
cheat, don't tell
fix
me.
yourself.
Wow.
Don't say anything. He said quote unquote. Alternatively, she can feel bad be guilty, keep her mouth shut about it, never do it again, and we'll live happily ever after.
I don't think I would want that, just because I think that honesty and that level of transparency is something that is very important when discussing or when trying to, have longevity in a relationship.
And also, if she's keeping that to herself, that guilt or whatever she's holding in is going to leak into other parts of the relationship. She's going to be distant. It's going to leak into the communication or into her distance, or even into her having sex with you, because she knows she's holding. Like, she might not be her. Either way, she's not giving you 100% in all aspects of your relationship if she's holding that secret.
Hey.
Exactly.
All right, story time. All right, so I already told you about this one. I told you she cheated with the girl. She never really told me about that, right?
Girl.
Boat girl, right? Boat girl cheated with the girl on the cruise, but I'm not counting that one as the cheating. I'm counting the one some weeks before where she did some stuff with the girl. I don't really know what line. I don't really know what line girls classify, lesbian sex, because it's like, all of it is like either not sex or it is. But either which way, right? So boat girl didn't really tell me about that, right? But I could tell in her actions
something was off, that
something had happened, because she was like, I promise you, I've never slept with any other niggas. Like, I haven't slept with any other niggas since we started talking, since like the talking phase. Like, I cut all of them off. I haven't slept with any niggas. I haven't kissed any other nigga. I had never even asked questions about this. Like, I wasn't interrogating her. This was coming out during intimate moments, and I was like, what is going on? 6 months later, I'm thinking about this in the shower. Look,
yo, you be thinking about
Mario Lions,
show.
Look, in the shower, I was like, why did she tell me this in February? Like, I promise you, I ain't never did nothing with no other niggas since we've been talking. I was like, why would you tell me that? This is in August. I'm like, hey, back in February, you were saying some things like this, and I wanted to know where this is coming from, where it's coming from. And she's like, we're so far past that now. Like, why
are you bringing up old shit?
Why are you bringing that up?
Right. She's a city girl for real.
Right? Why are you bringing that up? And yeah, that's when I found out. I found out 6 months later that, like, she's like, yeah, I was messing around with this girl.
She set herself up with that, bro. For real. Because by saying that, I ain't do nothing with no other nigga. Like,
right. But she had to get that guilt off her chest by kind of confessing, but not really confessing. Let me make a statement that is true,
confession,
but not the whole truth.
You can take from it what you may,
Yeah, So
yeah.
That came out, but I mean, when those 8 or 6 months had passed, I mean, we still was working through some things that we were ready. Look, that was already dying at that point, so. We was working through some things, but at that point,
I respect you, man, because I don't know how much I can bear, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like you went through so much.
Yeah, like.
But
hey, look,
summer's
coming up. I'm ready to act out. Act up. I can get snatched up. Okay.
Energy, boy, city boy. You already know the vibes, bro. Like, I can't hate on you for it, bro, and I can't hate on you for entering the city boy season just because you've been through it, bro. Like
yeah, you deserve. You
deserve, King. Like, honestly, yeah, but yeah, I'm glad that situation has been dubbed, to say the least. But okay, and I just have one question, one final question before we close this thing out, because I just have to ask, I just have to know, because it's been a debate question that I've had with a whole bunch of people, but I want to know from both of y'all, who cheats more, men or women? Who cheats more?
We're talking about total. We're talking about emotionally and physically, right?
Yes, who cheats more? Yes. Emotional or physical?
Men.
Let's combine it. You said men?
Men, because y'all all have that same mentality that started this whole conversation, that physical cheating doesn't matter. So men will cheat because they feel like it doesn't mean nothing. They just were trying to, get their shit off, whatever the case may be, and they feel like there was no emotions attached to it. So men cheat more often just because, like you guys been arguing this whole time, it was just physical and didn't mean nothing. So.
But it's crazy, and it's crazy that you said that too, because you made the point, which is a good point, that people usually cheat because they're lacking something within their relationship itself. But I've heard of situations where, like, a dude can physically cheat, and he said, like, his girls, is bomb. And it's like, so it's like at that point, like, what's the reasoning then? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, something wasn't missing. Maybe because
niggas
new.
are selfish, and at the end of the day, you want your girl to yourself. So that's why you made her your girlfriend, because you want her cuffed and want her to be all to you. But at the same time, you're not ready for a relationship, and you're not ready to be monogamous. So that's usually what that situation is about. Like, you're not ready to be monogamous and be committed, but you want your girl to be committed. So you go and wife her out so you can still do your thing on the side, because niggas ain't shit.
You know. As a nigga that is shit, and but see, it's a real weird.
You on the
double.
verge of ain't being shit.
Me?
CityBoi,
Hey, look, when the fall comes around, look, women, you can catch me. But and not that this is an excuse, but it's just a statistic that I know. Men have 15 to 30 times more testosterone in our system, and I was listening to another podcast the other day.
It's science.
It's
Let's
science.
talk about
It's
it.
science.
Let's talk about
It's
it.
science.
Niggas cheat because of science?
Yes, no.
Okay,
Niggas cheat because of a lack of discipline, but niggas have sex because of science. We are biologically created to want to find where can I get it next. There was a woman on a podcast that was speaking the other day, and she was pretty much saying she's in her premenopausal state, and y'all's testosterone levels spike up, but hers wasn't. So she went to the doctor. They started giving her T pills where she was having to take testosterone just to get her back up to that level. She wasn't even half of the level of men's testosterone. And she said she was looking at her husband ready to attack him on the couch. She's like, look, I need it now. It's mine, and I need it now. So, right? So men have
Get it when you need it.
1,200. Have it your way.
Hey, yeah.
Men have 1,200 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone in their system, whereas women.
Let's
often
talk
have-
numbers.
Women often have 240. That's 1,200 versus 240.
So what you're saying is niggas cheat more. Thank you.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing. If you had to pick one of the two, I would say niggas cheat more. If you were to talk about throwing discipline out of both sides, niggas would still cheat more. If women were as equally undisciplined as men were, niggas would still cheat more because niggas have 15 to 30 times more sex
So
than women
it's
do.
science. So at the end of the day, cheating is wrong. But I'm saying if we're looking at the science, you can kind of put it into perspective why it happened. Like I said on my last episode, man, ladies out there that's getting cheated on and stand, I respect it to a certain degree because it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You stand and you trying to uphold that whatever is going on. But
I only respect it if he's trying to change.
Ladies.
I only respect. It couldn't be me, but I'm saying I only respect it if he is putting forth a good effort to change, fix whatever y'all got going on, fix the reason why he cheated. Period. But if he's out here still cheating on you, shorty, leave that nigga.
agree with that.
you gotta respect it when a nigga just keeps cheating on your ass and you just stand.
I gotta say this to ladies, because I agree with that. But ladies, look, marriage is not the goal. Happily ever after is. So if you just waiting for the ring with the nigga that's been cheating on you, leave, because there's not gonna be a happily ever after.
You won't find another nigga, dog. It's mad
suffering
niggas
the rest
out
of your
here,
life.
man.
You're gonna have
Facts.
2 children. You gonna cheat. You gonna leave, and now you're gonna have 2 children to yourself. So look, happily ever after is the goal.
I mean, unless he, is shit, you know what I'm saying, then he'll handle the children as well.
And we gotta fix that phrase, because now the niggas that are good are shit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because of our grammar, niggas who are good
Either
are shit.
or you ain't shit.
Look, we can't win.
I think you guys are right. I would say, it's to split up a little bit, I would say that men physically cheat more, but I would say women emotionally cheat more. That's what I was saying. I think women emotionally cheat more, just
I would agree.
because I think they invest emotion into every intimate situation, sexual or not. There's some level of emotion invested into it. And like I said, I brought up the whole ex situation again. I think it's so much easier for a woman to still, think about that old nigga, think about what could have been in a new situation, while she's in a new situation. Where
I ain't gonna let y'all generalize like that, because there are women that can detach.
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
There are women that just out here can just have sex for the sake
absolutely.
of, it feels good to us too, you feel me? So they
Absolutely,
might just be trying to get their nut off and never talk to a
I have
nigga
a couple
again.
homegirls.
Shout out to
I
the
have
city
a couple
girls.
homegirls that's real savage with it. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about these niggas. And then it kind of rubs you the wrong way. Sometimes as a nigga, you're like, damn, shorty, you mean to tell me you don't like me at all?
I'm saying I'm a dildo.
Here come that ego.
A
Here come that
walking dildo?
like what? I feel so.
Used. Women are very capable of women are very capable of using men for sexual satisfaction. So good for them.
It's a two-way street, but I would definitely say women emotionally cheat more, and men are probably more along the physical cheating side. I think they have that covered. Anyway. So, we're going to wrap this thing up, man. Like I said, this is the season finale.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey,
Proud of you, man.
Turn up, man. Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate all the love and support I've received from everybody who's been listening so far, man. Numbers did really great. Definitely a lot better than I expected. And I'm so happy that so many people are showing love to the J.I. Day podcast, reposting, sharing, all that, listening, this, that, and the third, man. Appreciate the love so much. Appreciate CityBoi and Lex coming through for episode 10, the finale. Man, I handpicked both of these individuals myself. From a whole bunch of suggestions I had, I said, man, we got to end it out with a bang, and we definitely did that. Things we did, that.
This was great.
Things we did, that. So, I'm just so glad. Once again, I just want to say, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 10. Once again, follow me on Instagram at Joe the Great, JoeThegr number 8, and my podcast page j.ade.pod. Once again, man.
I also want to plug my podcast in real quick.
Yeah, plug it.
Joe was also a guest on my podcast. What episode was that? I'm going to look real quick. But my podcast is Lexxx Talk About It Podcast. It's Lexxx Talk About It Podcast. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Apple and Spotify. And you can go to lexxtalkaboutit.com. We got blogs, we got videos, we got all that stuff going on. And follow us on Instagram at Lexxx Talk About It. But Instagram wouldn't let me do the 3 X's. I think they thought it was porn.
Oh!
That was wild, right? Like, Instagram would not let me make it Lexxx Talk About It with 3 X's. So on IG is 2 X's, Lexx. But,
wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Wow.
Yeah, I swear I tried to do it with, because there's no other one out there with my name. I tried to do it with underscores, spaces, all of that. And as soon as I did 2 X's, they let me rock. So it was
wow.
That's crazy. If you made it this far, CityBoi is Uncle Samo. Uncle underscore SAMMO. Underscore. If you didn't make it this far, too bad.
Hey.
J.I. Day was on episode 27 of Lexxx Talk About It, so go ahead and check that out.
And go listen to them in general, though. Let's talk about it, man. Lex and Jay definitely do their thing on there, so definitely show them love as well. Support black business. Support black podcasts.
Support us.
That's all we asking for, man. Shout out Black Excellence, man. Once again, like I said, this is the season finale of J.I. Day podcast, man. Thanks for listening. We out.